Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's Power Up series for OpenAir, delivered by TopStep. I'm Ron Bro, CEO of TopStep. Thank you for joining. Our topic today will be tips and tricks for timesheet approvals. So when we work with customers to set up OpenAir, getting timesheet approval set up correctly is a very critical step. It's part of our long discussions we have with customers to really understand what their goals are and how they need to be set up. The reason we spend so much time and focus on this is because if you don't do it right, if you don't get it correctly, then you can really cause unhappiness within your organization. You could end up spamming approvers, multiple unnecessary approvals, and can really cause some problems, with customers ignoring the approvals, ignoring the reminders. And of course, in OpenAir, like everything else, there are lots of different ways to set these up. So we're going to walk through some of the tips and tricks we've learned over the years to make sure you get your approvals set correctly. So let's start with the most obvious place to control approvals, and that's at a project level. Within the project and with the right rights and roles, you can set the approvers. You can set those on templates and copy those over. You can set them as defaults when you create new projects. Most common, and this is what we see where the team's timesheets are approved by the project owner for this project. And what does this mean? It means when I'm putting in my time at the end of the week, typically, and I hit submit, the project owner will get an alert that they have time to approve for each project that's on my timesheet. So if I have 3 projects on my timesheet, system will alert the 3 different project owners that they have time to approve. You'll notice that when I said submit, it goes to the project because that's the first step OpenAir takes, is it first looks at the project to determine, is there an approval process on the project that needs to be executed? If it is, it does execute that. Once it's done with all the approvals of projects by the project teams designated within this approval process, then it secondarily looks at the user and says, is there an additional hurdle, additional approvals needed that are set at the user level? So the user's tip, if you're set here at the user, you will not get alerted until all the project teams have approved their lines, and then the approver here will then get an alert that they are ready to approval. Then the manager here in this example will get an alert that they need to approve the entire timesheet. This is important to understand that how OpenAir layers in these approvals, because what we typically see is where the manager is added to the project approval via a project approval process, where you have both the manager and the project owner as co-approvers or inside the process. And then you also see where the manager is set here at the user level. This causes problems because now the manager's getting spammed. They're getting hammered with approvals every time the project is submitted, the timesheet is submitted, and then also when the approvals have been made, they're getting a secondary alert they have to approve again. Typically, if you're controlling the project approvals at the project 100% don't need, this is the setting you need to have at a user level. People get uncomfortable saying, no, I don't like self-approver, but they're not truly self-approving. They're just self-approving on the second layer of approval process within OpenAir. So it's real important that you understand the flow and how to set these approvals so that you get the right people getting alerted at the right time and having the right settings to be able to get that accomplished correctly. I did mention approval processes. You can set approval processes, and we recommend approval processes a lot because they allow you to be able to make edits. So imagine you've set all your projects up and you've hard-coded some people, and then that person leaves the company, and now you're like, oh, what am I going to do now? I need to go reset all my projects. And that is very painful and can take a while because it's very manual. Whereas if you do something in an approval process where you can hard code a manager then you just update the one process and all your projects get updated. So as much as you can, as much as it makes sense, approval processes are recommended to cause the headache of having to change the approval process at a later date much easier than having to edit every single project. In addition, within approval processes, you have some additional flexibility. For example, here, in this example, we've got a project owner and a manager both in the approval process. You'll notice they are both in a sequence number of 1. And so this sequence number drives the order to which the approvals get created and set and alerts go out. Well, if they're both a 1, then they're both going to get an alert. And then there's a checkbox down here that says a sequence number requires only 1 approval. So in this example, whoever approves it first is the approver on record. And so this can be really handy if you have a team that needs to be alerted, and whoever within the team then approves it, then not everybody in the team has to. So we've seen that quite a bit. And again, this can be a very good option. Also here, if I'm a project owner and I am the approver on my project and I submit my timesheet, am I approving my own time? A lot of customers do not want you to be able to approve your own time. So this approval process gives us the option to layer in, if the approver is equal to the submitter, then send to their manager in this example. So I am not approving my own time. I am actually going to my manager when I submit, and everyone else on the project that is submitting their time comes to the project owner as well. So again, approval processes can be very powerful. There's some auto approver options. You can escalate by assigning, if the project owner is responsible for approving, but then they don't get to it within 24 hours, you can then escalate to the next approver by days, and then push that to the next approver. Both can still approve, but the next approver gets an alert and becomes available within the approval process. The last thing I'll say about approvers is we often get the question, well, what if my project owner is going on vacation and I need somebody to approve his timesheets while he's out? Do we change the approval process on the project, or do we update the approval process within the process itself? The answer is no. You don't want to do either of those things. The reason being is it would be very manual, and then when they come back, you got to go back and set it back again. And if there's already submitted time that got captured before you made the change, that submitted time is stuck in the old approval process. So we don't ever recommend trying to manipulate approval processes to accommodate unavailability of resources. Instead, what we tell is give the person who's going to be approving while they're out the ability to proxy in. So by setting up a proxy, I can proxy in. Let's say I'm going to proxy in as Larry on my user record. Larry has been assigned to me that I have the ability to proxy in. Larry's on vacation and I'm covering for Larry. So here I can come in and click on Larry. I can see he's got timesheets awaiting his approval. I can come in here as Larry and be able to approve timesheets on his behalf. When I do that, it does show that I approved it on behalf of Larry. So there's a full auditability that shows who did approvals, obviously when, and we can see that it was done through a proxy, not done directly by Larry, if there's everyone that has any questions. So again, the timesheet approvals, lots of different options, lots of different setups. If you have any questions, please contact TopStep. We would love to work with you to make sure we get this right so that you have harmony within your PSA organization and all your managers and your project owners. Thank you for joining. Again, I'm Ron Bro, CEO. We appreciate everyone joining today. If you want to learn more, please join us on LinkedIn. Please visit our website. And thank you, everyone, and have a great day.